It's not exactly a hot take to say that most modern shooters all look and feel the same these days. The same washed out tones, the same tactical gear, the same futuristic setups, it's all starting to blend together. Extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov have set such a specific tone that most games in the genre end up copying the formula rather than evolving it. But when I first saw Arc Raiders, it immediately stood out. It didn't look like your usual gritty military shooter. It had this sleek, retro-futuristic vibe that actually felt fresh for once. And when I heard that big AAA games like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 were outright banning the name Arc Raiders from their in-game chat, I knew I had to see what all the fuss was about. So, is this the next big extraction shooter that's going to dethrone giants like Tarkov? Let's dive in and talk about how Arc Raiders might just pull it off. One of the first things that makes Arc Raiders stand out from the rest is that it actually has a story, and a pretty solid one at that. Not the usual military political drama or faceless war between power-hungry factions, but it's a story of survival. The game takes place in a world where machines have taken control of the surface under the banner of Arc, forcing humanity to live underground. Beneath the ruined world lies a network of tunnels and elevators, remnants of old technology that people have used to build a new kind of civilization. Out of that resilience came Speranza, an underground city where survivors trade, rebuild, and hope for the best. Among them are the Raiders, brave scavengers who venture to the surface through these tubes to recover resources, tech, and scraps needed to keep Speranza alive. It's a dangerous job, filled with massive mechanical threats and other raiders all fighting over the same scarce supplies. But as long as something makes it back to the city, the struggle is worth it. It's a surprisingly ambitious setup for a shooter, let alone an extraction shooter. And Arc Raiders earned some serious points for even trying to build a world this interesting, and actually pulling it off. So, let's talk about gameplay. How does Arc Raiders actually play? At its core, it follows the familiar high-risk, high-reward formula that defines the extraction shooter genre. You load up with whatever gear you can afford, drop into the field, and hope to make it back in one piece with enough loot to keep progressing. Each mission drops you into a vast open map, either solo or with up to 2 other raiders, filled with ruined structures and scavenging opportunities. There's plenty to find: ammo, weapons, crafting materials, and valuable resources, but getting to them safely is where the tension really sets in. Other players are your biggest concern, since most will shoot on sight rather than risk losing their hard-earned loot. And if that wasn't enough, there are also PvE enemies patrolling the map. They're not impossible to deal with and can be avoided if you're careful enough, but any gunfire risks drawing more raiders to your position fast. Even the looting process has its risks. The bigger and more obvious containers are incredibly loud, practically alerting everyone nearby the moment you open them. But if you manage to grab what's inside and slip away unnoticed, it's one of the most satisfying moments the game can offer. Make it back alive and you'll return home with new loot, rare materials, and parts you can use to expand your home base and workbenches. Doing so makes crafting and upgrading gear much easier and way cheaper than buying from traders who love to overcharge for everything. The in-game economy really pushes you to rely on crafting and self-sufficiency instead of buying everything. Outside of combat and loot, Arc Raiders also features a skill tree. Each time you level up, you get points to invest into various passive perks and stat boosts. It's not Path of Exile 2 levels of deep, but it adds a solid layer of progression that fits the game's pace perfectly. Quick tip: invest early into the yellow branch, specifically the stamina ones. It's gonna make running around the map so much bearable. A double-edged sword of live service games is that none of them are completely safe from the reach of a battle pass. Arc Raiders isn't an exception, but to its credit, the first one is free and way less predatory. The game sticks firmly to its no pay-to-win philosophy, and its version of the battle pass, called Raider Deck, is entirely optional and surprisingly easy to progress through. By completing missions, you earn some currency called cred, and you can exchange this for items listed in the battle pass. It's really really just an extra layer of progression that rewards cosmetics from time to time, nothing more. No shady monetization tricks or gameplay advantages, just some nice visual rewards for those who want them. And since the game doesn't have a player-driven economy, everything you need to keep playing is already accessible. Even if you lose everything, the free loadout kit makes sure you're never completely out of the game, giving you the means to rebuild and get back out there. And in case you're wondering if the game has wiped, it does, but not in the way you'd expect. Once you hit level 20, you unlock something called the Expedition Project, which acts more like a voluntary reset for players who want a fresh start. It runs on an 8-week cycle, where players work toward completing objectives and milestones. Once you've met all the requirements, you can choose to commit an expedition and reset your character. You lose your gear, levels, and workshop progress, but you'll keep your cosmetics, achievements, and account-wide unlocks. So why would anyone do this? Well, there are incentives. Completing expeditions rewards you with permanent account upgrades, unique cosmetics, and buffs that carry over to the next cycle. These benefits are designed to enhance your experience without giving an unfair gameplay advantage, more bragging rights, and quality of life perks than raw power boosts. It's a refreshing twist on the traditional wipe system, one that doesn't punish casual players while still giving dedicated raiders a reason to keep playing. As much hype as there is surrounding Arc Raiders, I don't think it's going to dethrone giants like Escape from Tarkov, and honestly, that's okay. While they both fall under the extraction shooter umbrella, they're completely different experiences at the end of the day. For example, if you're the type who loves spending hours fine-tuning every gun attachment, this probably won't scratch that itch. But what's impressive about Arc Raiders is how it borrows familiar ideas and reshapes them into something that feels genuinely new for the genre. They're not groundbreaking systems on their own, but in a space that's been feeling stagnant for a while, it's a much needed breath of fresh air. Arc Raiders is a visual standout in every sense of the word, and honestly, it's not what I expected going in. The game looks incredible, not just because of its high-end graphics, but because of its style. Instead of sticking to the modern military look that dominates most shooters, Arc Raiders feels more like a mix between Metro 2033 and Dying Light, blending gritty dystopian tech with the chaotic beauty of a world long reclaimed by machines. The environments are diverse and detailed, massive deserts, dense forests, and towering ruins that you can actually explore. It's an absolute visual treat from start to finish, and what's great is that it doesn't come at the expense of gameplay or performance. The visuals enhance the world rather than distract from it, giving real weight to your scavenging and survival efforts. When it comes to audio, Arc Raiders holds its own just as well. It might not reach the same wow factor as its visuals, but the sound design is still excellent. Filled with tense ambient tracks, powerful weapon feedback, and decent enough voice acting that all help you pull into the world. That level of quality isn't exactly a shock either. If you've played the finals, you already know how skilled the devs are when it comes to crafting an immersive sound design. It's definitely the kind of game you'll want to play with headphones on to fully appreciate all the subtle details in its atmosphere. Arc Raiders comes in at a surprisingly reasonable $39.99, which honestly feels like a steal considering how polished it looks and feels. Console players might have to pay a little extra though, since online play still requires a PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass Core subscription. It's not really the game's fault, but it's worth keeping in mind before grabbing it. All that said, Arc Raiders really stands out as a surprise hit in a genre crowded with forgettable titles. It's fun, polished, and inventive enough to make extraction shooters feel exciting again, and for that, it earns an 82 out of 100. But what about you? Are you playing Arc Raiders? Are you playing it solo or squads? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe for more news and reviews. This has been Game8, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.